Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this special Love Reading Lit Fest event. I'm Andrea Reece, and I'm part of the review team at Love Reading for Kids, which means it's literally my job to read books, which I think always is proof that dreams can come true. I'm always really pleased when I get sent books by today's special guest author, Jennifer Killick, because Jennifer writes my favourite kind of reading, books with great plots, great characters, great dialogue, and which are also, as you'll know if you've read the Dreadwood series of books, as so many people have, are also both very funny and properly scary. I don't think reading gets any better than that. So welcome, Jennifer. We're really delighted to have you here. So you're going to tell us about your new series, Serial Chillers, published by Farshaw, and the first book, The Witch in the Woods, which I would describe as classic Killick. So yes, it's very funny, it's full of adventure, and it's got these characters who just become our friends. So it's absolutely fantastic reading. We'll ask you to talk a little bit about it in a minute, but I also need to introduce our other special guests today, Sunny and Harry. So give us a wave. Lovely. And you are students at Park Community School in Barnstaple. Today you're taking the Graham Norton role, as it were, and you're going to be putting questions to Jennifer about her books. So welcome to you both. Lovely to have you here. Now, we know that you're both big readers, which is fantastic. So Harry, apparently you like adventure books. Is that right? Yeah, so yeah, this is right up your street then. And Sunny, I think you admit to liking scary films, which I'm a bit of a yeah, fantastic. So yeah, this is going to be an absolute favourite with you as well. You've got some great questions to put to Jennifer. So before we get on to that, Jennifer, do you just want to introduce Serial Chillers for us and kind of welcome us to the town of Hazard?
Hey, thank you for having me. It's lovely to be here and to meet you guys as well. So Serial Chillers is the name of the series. The first book is called The Witch in the Woods. So this series is set in a town called Hazard, and Hazard is a strange place with kind of lots of tragedies in its history, lots of deaths, lots of people gone missing in strange ways. Um, It also has lots of kind of urban legends about monsters and ghosts and things that live in the town and are kind of, there to scare off children and lure in tourists as well. And the first book is about a group of characters. So the main character is called Travis. And he has a best friend called Zaid, who only moved to Hazard 6 months ago. So Hazard's quite new to Zaid. They've become best friends. The other main characters are Danielle, and Danielle used to be Travis's best friend in primary school, but they fell out. There's a whole beef thing there, so it's really weird and awkward between them. And also Danielle's new best friend, who is called Celine, and who is kind of like the most confident, ambitious, smart person in the school. And at the beginning of the first book, these characters are on a school trip to Hazard Museum, and the history teacher tells them they need to choose something from the museum to do a kind of a history project on. So she puts them in groups, and these four characters are stuck working together. And Celine decides that she wants to investigate the most kind of classic, sinister urban legend from Hazard, which is the legend of Blood-Eyed Mary. So Blood-Eyed Mary apparently lives in the woods on the hills above Hazard. There's a part in the woods where the land dips down, the trees grow really thickly together with sharp needles. And the rumors are that Blood-Eyed Mary lives in those woods. If you step into that cauldron where she lives, if you see her face, she will take either your eyes or your life so that you can never look at her again. So Celine decides they're going to investigate Blood-Eyed Mary, and that part of that investigation should involve going to the woods and having a little look around. Perfectly safe, because of course Blood-Eyed Mary is not a real thing. But as they find out, Blood-Eyed Mary is very real. She's very angry. She's a witch. They call her a witch, but she's kind of more than just a witch. And she doesn't like people going into her territory. So they have to kind of survive in the cauldron, find their way out. And they also find out along the way, who Mary really is, where she came from, what created her, and that everything in Hazard is basically a lie. There are loads of conspiracies, loads of secrets, and it starts them on this path of trying to investigate and reveal all of the kind of corruption and creepy things that are going on in the town.
Fantastic. Oh, brilliant summary. Ooh. So, as I said, we're going to ask you to read a bit later, which everyone will be desperate for now. But yes, do you two want to open up the questioning and put the first question on your list to Jennifer?
Okay. What inspired you to write the book?
Ah, that is a good question. And I mean, I started writing scary stories quite a while ago now, and I think scary stories, especially the ones that you read or watch in movies when you're young, I think they're so powerful. They really stay with you, and you carry them through your lives. When I was at primary school, there were loads of things that scared me. I'm one of those people, I'm scared of absolutely everything. But I don't know if you guys have this at your school, but we had a set of toilets in our school, girls' toilets that were said to be cursed and haunted by Bloody Mary. Have you guys heard the legend of Bloody Mary? Where, you look in the mirror, you say her name 3 times, she's going to come kill you. So we had some toilets where she supposedly lived. And I had an incident there when I was at primary school, we were playing hide and seek. Me and a couple of people hid in one of the cubicles in this toilet, and we locked the door, stayed there for a while, then decided we're going to move to a different hiding place. Tried to unlock the door, could not unlock the door. We all tried, did everything we could not budge this lock. It was like it was glued shut. So instead, what we did was, how toilet doors, they have like the gaps underneath between the cubicles. So we kind of slithered under the gap into the next cubicle. But when we got out, we turned back to face the door that had just been completely locked, and it was wide open. So we were obviously then convinced that, oh my God, Bloody Mary lives in these toilets. And I loved that idea of Bloody Mary, of a cursed place, of a witch just terrifying people, and just the story and the rumor of them being enough to creep people out. So I just wanted to write a really angry, creepy kind of witchy story.
I think you have. So that's great. Right. What's your next question?
Was there any inspiration for your characters? If so, who were they?
Excellent question. Most of my characters are inspired by people from real life. So whether it's famous people or people that I've met or friends of my children or people that I know, I take a real person as a starting point, and then I kind of develop the character in a different way. So I don't copy people exactly. So in Serial Chillers, the main character, who's called Travis, I don't know if either of you are Swifties. Either of you Swifties? Okay, so Taylor Swift, at the time when I started writing it, she had this new boyfriend that we were all really excited about called Travis Kelce. And I think he looks really interesting because he kind of has, these kind of twinkling, kind of deep set eyes, kind of a really strong, solid face. So I called this character Travis, and looks wise, he's supposed to be like a younger version of Travis Kelce. And there's a bus driver in Hazard called Vic, who is inspired. Any of you like football? Either of you football fans? Not really. So there's a goalkeeper who plays for Tottenham Hotspur called Vicario, who's Italian. He's super, super intense all the time. So the bus driver was inspired by him. There's a character which is Travis's Aunt Robin, who is inspired by a character from One Piece called Nico Robin, which is an anime manga. So like famous people, real life people. I get them from all over the place. I'm always eyes and ears open. Like even just someone I pass in the street and I'll look at them and I think, oh, that person looks interesting. And I imagine what they might be like. And that can quite often inspire a character. And also children that I meet on school visits as well, because I meet some really funny characters when I visit schools. So quite a lot of them kind of work their way into my books as well.
There you go. That's brilliant. So you can all look around and see if you can get inspired by people you meet. That's fantastic. I love the fact that the Tottenham goalkeeper has made his way into the book too. I think we should all tell everyone that.
And then last night we won the Europa League, guys. So it's all super happy today. So yeah, he's a hero, and he's also in Hazard, being heroic and intense.
Right, fantastic question. What's your next one?
What are your favorite types of books?
Oh, good question. So I like books that have got like, when somebody summarizes a book in like a couple sentences, say this book is about this, and you think, wow, like that sounds brilliant. So, like, for example, the Hunger Games, just the premise of the Hunger Games. So, like, future world, and there's these games that have been set up where children have to fight to the death. I'm instantly like, oh yes, that's what I want to see. So definitely things with strong premises. I like dystopia. I like a bit of horror, thriller. I like books where you have to try and work out what's going on, like a mystery, like who the killer is. I love stuff like that. Um, those are definitely, yeah, my favorite type of books that I'll always be kind of drawn to.
What made you want to become an author?
Mhm.
That's a good question as well. It was really just my love of stories. So growing up, stories were my favorite thing. Books were my favorite thing. I used to spend all my time in the library. And I'm really shy now, but I was really shy growing up, really timid, very self-conscious. But I found, when I picked up a book and I kind of immersed myself in a story, it like make me feel safe and welcome and less lonely and all of those things. I love them so much, and I loved writing my own stories. It kind of felt natural to want to write my own. Um, and then I didn't think I could be an author though, because I thought authors were like super fancy people. But as I got older, I thought, wouldn't it be nice to write stories that might help other people in the way that stories have helped me. I love the idea of writing a story and someone somewhere picking up that book, and maybe they're having a bad day, maybe they're feeling a bit sad, and they pick up that book. And even if it's just for like an hour, just feeling better and happier, or maybe it being their comfort read. So whenever they're having a bad day, they go, "Oh, I'm going to go read Dreadword again," and because it always cheers me up, and I love those characters. So it's really just wanting to kind of share stories and hope that they might help people in the way that stories have helped me.
Brilliant. Do either of you two think about writing, or do you know anyone who would like to write?
My younger brother.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, excellent. Right, next question, sorry.
What has your writing journey been like?
Oh, it's tough, I guess. Tough and lucky. Writing's such a funny thing. Well, being an author is kind of different to writing, because I mean, writing, I love. It makes me happy. It can be really challenging, but it's kind of challenges that I love because I can kind of control them. The actual being published part is so different from that. Um, And I wrote because I loved writing, and then wanting to get a book published was a very kind of separate choice. And it took a very long time. I had lots of rejections, had lots of people telling me that I wasn't good enough, that my writing wasn't strong enough, that my ideas weren't good enough. So it took a really long time. And then even after I got published, I kind of thought beforehand, once you get a book published, then it's just easy from then on. But it's still maybe even harder actually. So again, sometimes I'll try writing something, I'll write a whole story, I'll spend months on it, and then I give it to my publisher or my agent, and they'll just say, no, this is not great. And you're just like, oh, and you feel so deflated. So yeah, it's very up and down, but the good parts are magic, and the actual writing part, I love it. It makes me so happy, and I sit here and think, oh, I get to make up stories for my job. Like, that's amazing. So I think it takes a lot of hard work, resilience, a little bit of luck as well. But the biggest thing, and I think probably this is true of most jobs, you can be the most talented, skilled person in the world, but unless you like can really knuckle down and work hard and keep going, not give up, I don't think you're as likely to succeed. So it's very much about being determined and resilient, and just, yeah, saying, do you know what? I'm going to prove all those people wrong who said that I'm not a good writer. I love being stubborn and just being like channeling all my anger towards people who said I'm not good, and then using that to succeed.
You ever put the people in your books who've said that wasn't good enough? Perhaps give them a nasty ending.
I could do. Do you know what? I haven't. There's a couple of people particularly that were on my when I went back to uni to do creative writing MA, there were a couple of people that were really, really scathing towards me. And part of me is just like, "Do you know what? They don't even deserve the honor of being in one of my books. They can just stay in the back of my mind as people that I think, oh yeah, how many books have you got now?
Yeah.
And I know they have many. So, yeah, I don't think they even deserve to be in a book.
You're not going to immortalize them. That's great. Another really good question. What else have you got to ask?
Where did you get the inspiration of Hazard from?
Good question too.
Oh, it's a good question. So there's quite a few things that I love, stories that are set around kind of weird towns. So when I was growing up, there was a TV show called Erie, Indiana that you guys probably haven't seen, but it was so weird. And it's about these boys. They live in this place where loads of weird things happen. People die. It was just the weirdest but most brilliant show. And then more recently, Stranger Things. I don't know if you guys have watched Stranger Things. So there's a town in Stranger Things called Hawkins, where again, loads of things happen. And it's very much about that mix of there's kind of this supernatural weird stuff happening, but also there are people there that are kind of helping it. So kind of that mix of human baddies and also kind of creepy monster baddies. So that definitely came into it. The other thing that came into it was a very old song by a singer called Richard Marx, who you won't probably have heard of, but he was big in the 80s. And he had a song called Hazard, which was about a person who is accused of murdering his friend Mary in this town where he's like a loner. And I think about that song a lot because it's such a weird thing to write a pop song about. Like, oh, I'm going to write a song. What shall I write about? Oh, I write it about as if I might have murdered my friend. So weird. So I think about it a lot. So yeah, that obviously gave the town its name as well.
Fantastic. It's a great name as well, Hazard. I mean,
Oh, yeah, when I thought of it, I was like, oh yeah, no, that fits really well. I really liked it.
Oh, can I also just say I love Apocaland, which is the theme park, which is another brilliant name, isn't it?
I'm so excited because I'm just starting to write the third book and it's set in Apocaland.
Oh,
So we're going full on Apocaland.
fantastic. Can't wait for that one. Right, next question.
What made you choose a witch rather than any other monster or demon?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question.
It is a really good question. And I think I don't know, there's so much history to the witch thing, isn't it? You know how people used to be burned as witches, women used to be burned as witches. And I think is there's a big female thing in there, I think, just of being a woman and being persecuted for being different or being weird. And I love the idea of having a female witch who's like super powerful and so angry at how the world has treated them. And this is probably going to sound weird, but I'm kind of quite a big believer in anything creepy weird. I believe it. So I do believe in witches, and I believe I had an encounter with one when I was about 15. And you know, maybe it was just a standard poor lady who was just a bit creepy, but you know, in my head I met this witch and she's always stayed in my head as well. So yeah, and also there are lots and lots of stories about witches, and lots of them are quite cute witches or good witches with like pretty hair and happy magic. And I wanted to write a really hideous, angry, disgusting witch, just to do something a little bit different. I think I always had that witch yearning in me. So this book was really like, it was really nice to write it because I got to get that witchiness out.
Yeah, we all need to get our witchiness out sometimes, don't we? It's brilliant. Right, that's another good question. What's next on the list?
Do you write the book and then make the title, or vice versa?
Good question. So it varies from book to book. Sometimes I will have a title in my head before I've even started writing. Crater Lake was like that. I knew it was going to be called Crater Lake because I wanted it to be named after the setting. Sometimes I will have written the whole book. I'll be editing the book and I still have no clue what to call it. Sometimes I don't choose the titles myself. My editor will choose the title. So Dreadwood was not my idea for a title. That was from my publisher. So it's different every time. It's such a funny thing, titles, because sometimes they're just there and they're so clear to you, and sometimes I cannot think of a good one, and I'll just be like and I'll let someone else decide for me. So yeah, it's different every time.
We ought to ask as well, sorry, it's me interrupting. So if you're sometimes you might get stuck on a title, but sometimes you get stuck on plots, don't you? And I think you've told me a bit about your really unusual way of solving plot problems.
So plots, I think plotting is the hardest part because you have this brilliant idea for a book and you have these characters and you're like, yes, and then you're like, oh, stuff actually has to happen. And that is hard. So plotting for me, I draw, I sketch, I draw maps, I do lots of scribbling. I also sleep and I daydream plot. So what I'll do is when I'm really stuck, I might go upstairs and say, right, I'm going to have a nap. And then when I'm laying trying to fall asleep, I'll just turn it over and over and over in my head. And then the idea is normally like proper. Sometimes while I'm sleeping, I'll dream the answers to my plot problems. So yeah, there's all different ways, but a lot of it involves eating biscuits or closing my eyes, which is very, very handy if you're a person that enjoys doing those things.
There you go. So now if you're stuck on a knotty maths problem, you know what to do. Go and have a biscuit and a bit of a snooze and you'll probably wake up and be able
Yeah.
to do it.
Just relax and eat snacks and the answers will come.
Fantastic. Right, what's your next question?
Did you grow up reading books similar to these?
I did. So, I mean, I grew up a long time ago. So it's a really different world to the world now. So we didn't have like computers. We didn't have the internet. We didn't have mobile phones. We didn't have games consoles. It was literally just, oh, TV, 4 channels on the TV. There were no movie channels or fun channels. So I didn't have any of the stuff that was as much choice as we have now. But I had my library and my mum used to take me to my local library every Saturday. And I used to just sit in there all morning reading everything, deciding what to take home. And then when I went to school, obviously I had the books in the library there and I just read and read. It was just something that always felt really comforting and safe and happy to me. And then now it's so different because we have so many other things to kind of vie for our attention. But even now, I find when I get lost in like a book that I really love, it's like it's still the best. As much I love movies, I love TV series, but that feeling of just having a book where you're just completely immersed in it, it's the nicest feeling. It's so joyful.
Brilliant. I'd agree with that. Next question.
Who is your favourite character from Witch in the Woods and why?
Do you know what? I do love them all. I love them all, and I hate picking favorites because I always feel guilty. But probably Celine, because when I started writing The Witch in the Woods, I was going to have Celine as a kind of side character who was just this really mean girl who probably I just would have killed off or something and got rid of at some point. But I started writing it and I started falling in love with Celine. She's so mean and she says those things that other people would filter and say, no, actually can't say that out loud because that's really rude. She'll just say them. And she has this honesty and she's kind of unapologetically ambitious. She's like, I'm going to do this and you're not going to stop me. And I just started seeing all these good qualities in her and also the reasons why she's like that. And I think she says some of the funniest things in the stories. I love how she doesn't let anyone kind of bring her down or make her feel bad about herself. So yeah, she's kind of grown to be my favorite. I love them all, but Celine's definitely got a place in my heart.
Yeah, I think she's great. Do you agree? She's fantastic. I love the fact she doesn't care. Right, next question.
What makes a great book?
Ooh, so for me, I think it's a combination of plot and characters, but characters are probably the most important thing because if I'm reading a book and I don't like the characters, the main character, and I don't care what happens to them, it doesn't matter how good the plot is, I won't be interested. Like I need to be invested in the characters. So strong characters that your readers are gonna, they don't need to be perfect or good, but they need to be people that the readers are going to really root for and want them to succeed and want them to survive and want to see what they're going to do next. So definitely strong characters. And then, stuff needs to happen. I'm not one for books where, it's nice and gentle and they go for a little walk and then they think about things. Like I want action in my stories. I want jump scares. I want suspense. I want things to really, really happen that are really exciting.
Brilliant. That's what makes them so good. Right. Next question.
Do you do your research before you write, or do you do it while you're in the process of the writing?
That's a good question. And actually it's both. So before I start writing, I will research, especially when I'm kind of building a world. So for now, because I'm writing this third one and I'm creating this theme park called Apocaland. So I want to make sure that's really clear in my head. So I'm doing lots of research on theme parks and rides and things like that. But then while I'm writing, there'll be points where I'll be like, oh, I don't know enough about this, and then I'll have to kind of go and research a little bit more. So things come up as I'm writing. I try not to over research because I feel like sometimes if you research too much, it's like you're using it as an excuse to not actually write the book. You're just like, oh no, I just research, and it's a very good distraction. So I research, but I try and keep it strictly necessary. But yeah, mostly before, but also bits as I go along.
Are you reading anything good at the moment?
I'm reading a few good things at the moment, actually. I'm really lucky as an author. Sometimes I get sent other authors' books before they come out, because they want me to read them and maybe give them a quote for the cover. So I've read a couple of amazing horror stories for young people that are coming out quite soon. So there's one by Christopher Edge that I've just read, which is short, kind of compact, super creepy. And I'm currently reading a horror by oh my goodness, names. Darren, what's his name? Darren.
Oh, no. Shan? No, he's old.
No, but actually, I have just read all the Darren Shan books as well because I'm doing an event with Darren Shan next week. So I've been reading a lot of horror for young people, and then at the same time, I'm reading some kind of fantasy stories as well by Sarah J. Maas. We're so lucky because there's so many amazing books around. So I always try to keep reading something, and quite often it's multiple things at the same time.
I think on that point, we probably ought to have a quick reading by you. Is that all right with you two?
Okay, I'm going to read a really short bit. So this part of the book is where, so our four main characters have gone to Mary's Cauldron. And whilst they've been there, it starts off a bit light-hearted. They're just pranking each other, stuff like that. They don't really think they're going to find anything. But then a couple of weird things happen. They stumble across some strange things in the woods. And then Celine has an accident and she hurts her ankle. And before they know it, it's getting late, it's getting dark, and they realize that they are lost in the cauldron, in the dark. And they've got to try and plan to get out of there. So here we go. Listen, I say, but I don't get to finish my thought, let alone my sentence, because behind us, from deep in the cauldron, another shriek pierces the woods. And it's wild and full of rage and suffering, and it makes me want to cut my own ears off. I thought I'd already heard the worst screams in the world today, but I was wrong. We all stop walking, grab each other's arms, and that saying about your blood running cold makes sense to me for the first time in my life. It's like my veins are filled with glacier melt and my heart has been frozen into a useless lump of ice. The moon above us is full and a supernatural white, and my mind is filled with images of werewolves howling at the sky and then hunting in packs for human flesh to feast on. The world at night is a very different place to the daytime space we live in, especially in Hazard. And I've never felt that more than right now. It sounds like something woke up, Zaid whispers. You think it's Blood-Eyed Mary? I say, because I'm sure that's what we're all thinking. Less speculating, more walking, Celine says, planting her crutch on the forest floor and swinging herself forward. And she doesn't say anything else about splitting up. So we hurry on, no talking, just walking and listening. I'm trying to control my breathing because I feel like it's too heavy, and my heartbeat because it's thumping so hard that I can hear it. And I don't want to miss any sounds from the woods behind us, any sign that we're being followed, that something's coming after us. Somewhere in the woods, a flock of birds takes flight, screeching angrily like they've been disturbed. And I realise that for the entire time we've been in the cauldron, we've barely seen any life. If there are any creatures living here, birds, squirrels, wildcats, they stay hidden. Or at least they do when there are people nearby. Maybe they're scared. We must be almost out now, right? Zaid says, as long as we've kept walking in the same direction. Yeah, although it's easy to go off course without having something to point the way. Danielle jogs ahead a few steps, climbing a mound that rises up out of the earth like a wave on a rough sea. She switches on the torch on her phone and shines it into the woods beyond. I actually feel like I recognise this place, she says. I think we're nearly... I'm already on my way to join her on the mound, hoping to see what she's seeing. A chink of hope that we're getting out of here. I look up at her face, lit by the unnatural torchlight, so that every feature casts a deep shadow on her skin. Her eyes are bright, her mouth curved into a half smile, looking just like she did when we played together as kids. But then, in front of my eyes, she just drops. Not like she's ducked or fallen, but like the ground has opened up underneath her feet and left her with nothing solid to stand on. I see in her eyes the moment the fear hits, but as she disappears from sight, she doesn't even have time to scream.
Fantastic. Very good. I love that bit. Oh, God.